or if you've done any research in there.
What is neophytes?
Neophytes?
It says best for neophytes.
Oh.
You have now joined the A Couple Podcast Show. Let me introduce our hosts, Laura and Xavier.
Hello, everyone. This is Laura here.
And me, Xavier.
Yep, and so we're back for our part 2 segment of VR.
Yeah, at least we came back quickly. It's not like, one of those segments that they do like a break in the middle and then they forget to come back to it, so you never get the next part.
I think we actually... Oh, I know what it was we did that on. I was just looking at it recently. We did our military experience part 1, although I swear I'm going to have to listen to the first one again, just so I remember where the heck we stopped off at. I think we realized, we were only, at basic training, and we had taken up, 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like,
because we have so much on the much story that just to kind of just much happened.
Well, yeah, and both of us had long stories. I mean, really, we could probably make a whole podcast just on yours, and then a whole podcast just on mine. So when we're combining the two of them, it's crazy.
So one thing I wanted to mention on this, and actually I had someone else that listened to a podcast, and they were, I guess, was wondering, as okay, so you going to the VR thing because that's a big push for a lot of people because it's Christmas, and this is probably something that's going to be really bought up for this year. And that's pretty much the premise. And it's also very complex for most people going into it. I think more than the average bear about it, but even that there's enough to get lost really easily.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing is that it's an industry that still hasn't completely figured itself out or ironed out all of its wrinkles. Whereas if you go and buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, you know what you're going to get. You know the games that you're going to get with it. It's a lot less confusing.
Yeah, the marketing's a little more clear too of what you're getting.
Well, where what you buy, depending on which VR headset you buy, depends on where you get your games from. And the game quality that you get is completely different from one versus the other. The amount of games you have available, it's just insane.
I've heard multiple stories from other people where, for their birthday, they got the Oculus and really nice gift. Great. But they didn't have the computer to run it. So here they go. They got this really expensive headset, this 300 or 350, depending on what site you go to, online headset, and they can't connect it or use it because they need a graphics card that costs another $300 or more just to power the thing. And then they're using a laptop, and then this becomes a whole new mess. Well,
and I think the other aspect of it too that is probably a bad part is that a lot of people's first experience with VR are those cheap $15 ones that you can put your phone into, and you really don't have a great joystick controller or anything like that with it. And those are horrible. They're horrible.
It's hard.
I mean, they're cool to kind of get you as a first step into it. This is what VR is like. But I mean, it's not even comparable to what actual VR console is like.
And then when you have people to have the cheap experience, trying to convert them, why would I spend more if I already have a cell phone and a cardboard box?
Well, yeah, and you can't go try them out. I mean, you could go to the Target or Walmart and try out the Switch. You can try out the Xbox.
Yeah, you got the controller just hanging there.
I don't know, what is their newest one. I don't even know what their newest one. Is it still one? I don't know.
It's still one.
Anyway, and then PlayStation and whatever their newest one is. And it's just it's you can't do that. You can go to Best Buy and sometimes they will have the Oculus set up. But yeah, like you were saying, most people do not have the computer system needed to set that up. So then they go there and, and they find out hey, this is going to cost $1,300. And it's no, thank you.
And it's so quick and it's so easy for a lot of people who, especially outside, when it comes to the gift giving, it's different than buying for yourself, because we'll dig for the research and kind of figure out what we want when we're getting something. But for somebody else, you want something that's low effort, I want to give you this thing and there we go.
And buying the Oculus system for $300 or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's certain deals out there that you can get it for less. But.
And that is obviously comparable to what you would buy a PlayStation or Xbox for.
Yeah, a full console. So
it seems this is a great buy. But then the one person you were talking to who ended up getting this great system, and finding out they couldn't run it.
Yeah, but what they ended up doing is just returning it and getting a computer that can run it. And now they're saving up. So when they can go rebuy it, when they can afford it, which it's good. They got into another system. This gives them access to more games they couldn't play. But at the same time, that's not what the idea was.
This is why if you buy an expensive gift, always give a receipt with them.
Oh, yes. Big lesson learned. I think, well, I guess not learned, but I hope you learned it. I worded that correctly. Anyway, on to the next thing. I wanted to kind of, for this, we kind of, our first part, we generally just discuss VR and
the concept and, you know.
Exactly. A little bit of ramble. Now, that's part of us in general. That's the it couple is you come here for the rambling like we're doing now. Today, what I want to cover is what I think would be best for you. Someone who's, been around the tech world and the hardware and stuff like that. And what I would suggest for you and the type of buyer that you would be. I'm going to give 3 different types of buyers. There's your brand spanking new to the world of VR. I got a suggestion for you. I need to take a diet approach to this because there's a lot of money involved. I got a suggestion for you. And for those who just want to go all the way 100% and get the full experience, I got a full on suggestion for you of what products to get.
Money is no issue.
Yes. And if we have time, I'll even give you something to look out for the future because there are some other projects out there that people are. If
you're like us or me, and are just waiting.
It's money's gets kind of tight when you're talking, but we're talking about a gaming, I guess a gaming system in a way that, goes between being next to free if you have a cellular device to up in the thousands easily. Yeah. And that's, so it'll be nice to have some kind of guide.
It's a big gap.
Yes, it is.
Like we need some middle grounds in there, options.
So let's knock out the kids first. The kids, because I think that a lot of the gaming and marketing and stuff like that, they're not really geared up to your 10 years and younger. And there is I think a suggestion I would give for them. Now, I don't say breaking the bank for the kids is a good idea.
But most of them don't have phones either. So the mobile ones wouldn't necessarily work. I mean, some of them, I guess, have phones. Well,
I actually, what's the standalone devices? Now, a lot of people aren't all that excited, but those are mostly adults. The standalone devices make a lot of sense for kids if you can give them
the Oculus Go.
Yes. For a full experience, about $200, you get a similar controller set.
Pretty much, it doesn't need to be attached to a computer.
Exactly.
But you don't have to put your phone into it because that causes some issues too.
Exactly. So, and you just turn it on, and for many parents out there like ourselves, we need breaks. We do need breaks.
Yeah, but and that's great, and I mean, our kids are now in this stage where we constantly are reading articles where like, oh, don't let TV be the babysitter or whatever. But when it comes to games, there are a lot of games out there they can learn amazing things from.
And a way to kind of twist reality in a way to there's math games. There's I guess there's dreamy games for your imagination. There's drawing games. There was one I want to say Draw with Jazza on YouTube where he was in VR and he was going through other people or his fans' artwork, and he's literally in a 3D space looking at other kids' artwork and it's a different world. It's a different creative space in there, and that's the one way you can get into it. It's not something you can just look at on a computer. You have to be able to look up and down and around, and I think, and with that set, you can do that. And with the Oculus Go, the one negative on Oculus Go is it is similar to using a mobile phone. So you're not able to move your feet around your room. So if you have a clear room space or you have space to walk around, it's not going to move with you. So you sit in a chair or stand up in one place and go in a circle. That's how it works.
Now, what about for people like me who have motion issues? Is this one bad with that?
I would say with the motion issues, it depends on the game. And now it's still a mobile device. It's not a cellular phone. So it's not going to have the horsepower of a dedicated machine. So I would say, since it is Oculus and it's their mobile device and it's probably specialized, it's probably be better than most mobile devices. But it'll be hard to say it'd be better than a headset that connects to your computer or your PlayStation.
Well, and then I guess my other question is with the Oculus. I know the main Oculus that, attaches to the computer that most people don't have. You get your games from Steam for there. Is it the same with the Oculus Go?
As far as I know, I haven't heard anything else, but it is all...
I would assume that it would be the same.
Well, it wouldn't be connected to Steam. It would just as Oculus. And I'm guessing kind of how you upload games in there. If it's compatible, it can run it. If it's not compatible, then it can't run it. What they have done for some games to make it compatible with the Go is they have lowered the resolution. They have lowered the pixel count. They have reduced the quality of the games so it can run it. So no, it can't run the games, but a lot of people are trying to curve it that way.
So you have to download the game into the Oculus Go?
Yes and no. So it'll stay in your library online, and I guess...
But it can only hold so many games, I would assume.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it can only do but so much. So that's why a lot of game developers will scale down if they detect your device's Oculus Go, so you can play the game. But not all games are going to be scaled that way because all developers are different and weird.
Yeah.
So that's the one complication there. The good thing is most games are made for kids, well, which suggest like the Oculus Go. And this is over the Google Cardboard. This is over the there's a one for Google. I can't think of what this is called. I would say it suggests that way over Google and the Samsung Gear, because one. If it's in the occupied space of Oculus, at least you can make sure they're playing safe games. The one thing I have a problem with for the same price, there's the Samsung Gear, but that's still opening up for the entire internet on your kids. And that's a scary area. And as parents, we always wonder about what sites they go to. We always kind of look behind their back.
For this one, what's being downloaded onto there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can see on your site what phones are downloading and have some kind of control there too. So
that's good. Yep. That is important for kids. Because that is the aspect of it. Like, while it's great to let them have access to the amazing parts that the internet offers, there are some not amazing parts.
There are parts to avoid. Oh my goodness. Actually, the first time I started playing VR chat, and there's my daughter next, and then there's this guy is just screaming, I'm gonna say epithets. Just is going there and like, okay, give me the headphones, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, we gotta leave this area, this place, to get away from this one buffoon who forgets there's other people in this world. But that is what
they really need to make like a kid's version of that. Not that will make it completely safe.
Possible, but because it's still uploading the whole internet, and even the kids. I mean, the kids can be mean. They can be mean.
Well, yeah. So, all right. So, what's the next group segment we're going for?
This is for our I would say our savvy people, or people who want budget friendly. They want
me. Yay.
Yes. They want the system. They want it badly. They want the experience, but they know that they live in reality. And so I have a suggestion for them. And it's a kind of a combination because it's also the hardest to pick from. I could say many different things, but each one of those things have something attached to it that also adds to the cost. So I'll start on the low end, is discussing the PlayStation VR. It actually has a lot of games on it.
Yeah, if you already have the PlayStation 4.
Exactly. If you already have the PlayStation 4.
Yeah. But if you don't.
Yeah. So so you're kind of getting yourself into a weird area there. Then there's the Oculus, which we've already discussed.
It's expensive.
It's less expensive by $100 than the HTC Vive. But at the same time, there's a couple caveats there too. So here's what I would suggest. One, I would say if you're looking at like the PlayStation is out for one different reason. Unless you have a PlayStation 4, it's out for one reason for me. It's the lowest quality headset that's out there. So motion sickness, that still comes into play. Having a good experience with whatever you're playing, I think that's still very important. And even though
then the amount of games that are available aren't as many.
Exactly. And you can still get a decent computer. Granted, we're still talking about spending money, but I think it's almost worthwhile because some of these machines will grow. And I'm not sure how well the PlayStation VR is doing. I think it's going to see a bump sales because of the Christmas season. But at the same time, I'm not seeing peripherals or add-ons or new controllers coming into the mix. Meanwhile, Oculus and Vive are bringing other devices on there. The PlayStation VR, one of the biggest problems with it is this handset. It has very horrible motion tracking. and it's using the dongles from way back when if you remember back when the Nintendo Wii was a thing. PlayStation came back and they had their motion hand controllers. That's what you're using for the VR. They also are not building those anymore. Those aren't newly constructed controllers. Those are probably what they had in their factory. They've been sitting there for a while. They will never charge to 100%, and unless that's changed. I haven't seen any news on that. But as far as I know, PlayStation hasn't been putting a lot of stock into VR. So I feel like in a way you're going into a market that's slowly dying already. So my suggestion would be, if you're on the pricey, savvy side, Oculus Rift would probably be your best bet. Comes with two sensors. Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, the computer in and of itself is so expensive.
It is true. But as compared to buying a new PlayStation 4, I think that's around three to 400, depending on what games or packages you get with it. Then you get the headset, which is, give me 1 second. I just had the prices hooked up here. It's about 300. The same price. You can probably get yourself a computer that can run, I'll say, a 1050. That's probably the lowest you need. Somewhere under that $1,000 mark. You can probably get it pretty easy for $700 to get a full PC with. I
mean, that's pretty much like if they know how to change out the graphics card kind of thing.
They don't need to. You can get it. I would say you can buy a full PC VR ready for probably around $700. $750. It is kind of, it's a rough market, but you can get it. And of course, more caveats if you spend higher on your PC. But it'll be something you'll use years and years on, where I'm not sure how long the PlayStation VR is going to last. So if you're going to be in the saving money thing, you want to see if you get your return on your investment. Your return on your investment, I think, will be higher with the Oculus Rift.
Okay.
I feel like there's a disagreement there. Okay, tell me.
I don't know. I just feel like, you're spending $350 on the Oculus itself, whether that comes with the hand controllers or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on whether they're trying to.
No, it does. There is a cheaper one, but I think that one is like $200 straight for the headset.
And then we're talking about, okay, if you know how to change out your graphics card, God, they're like $300 for.
Well, that's if you can. I'm saying buying a new computer for $750, not a graphics card.
So now we're talking about $1,100 between the Oculus and a computer that can run it.
It's a huge gap. Yeah,
that is not budget friendly. He doesn't understand budget friendly people. Apparently, that's not budget friendly.
Okay.
I don't care if it lasts like a really long time. That is not your budget friendly.
Well, then how about this? I do have something else. If your next budget friendly advice from me would be
he's not budget friendly, by the way.
Listen, I
have to rein him in.
Have some hope.
Like, if you wait
for a few months, the Oculus Quest will be coming out. I wanted to say this for the future session because this may actually work, but wait a few months. The Oculus Quest is a standalone unit, but it's a bit stronger than the Go, like a lot stronger, comparable to the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. So it doesn't need any sensors around it. The sensors are built into the headset. You can move in a 360 space. You get the full library. A lot more games are available to you. Again, graphics limitations there, but it's a bit stronger on the processor, on the processing power on that.
And how much are they going to be putting that one for?
That $400.
Okay.
But $400 and you're in.
But you don't need a computer.
Don't need a computer.
Okay. Wait, budget friendly people. That sounds better.
Or you can spend $400 more and go with okay.
That's not budget friendly.
It's not budget friendly. I'm working with this. All right. Okay, now let's go to the creme de la creme. The best you can get, the best VR can offer.
Okay.
Now, if you know anything about any news in here, or if you've done any research in there.
What is neophytes?
Neophytes.
It says best for neophytes.
If you're new, you're brand new to the field. You're just getting in. Yeah, the neophyte. Like you're new to VR. That's what they're saying. So
seriously, those people wouldn't even know what the heck that means.
It'll be hard to get someone new into
Put newbie.
It'll be hard for me to suggest someone like brand spanking new to go out and go get an Oculus. Well, I guess
that's hilarious.
You want to give that as a gift.
Okay.
Yeah. Just tell them to keep using the cardboard. But yeah, for neophytes.
I'm sorry. I know I cut you off, but I was like reading this thing with all your stuff on it or whatever about these different VRs, and I'm like, what the heck is neophytes?
It's not the best. I mean, I do like PC Mag. This is where I'm pulling the data from.
Yep.
You can pull this up yourself.
I pull them up a lot.
Yeah, but here's one thing I do want to bring up though. Okay, now for the next tier, the top of the line, the big dogs.
Okay. Yep.
Who would you think would be the number one on there? Like just looking at this.
Well, I know the one that you've been drooling over, so I guess I'll go for that one.
What's that?
The HTC Vive.
This one or that one?
Well, probably the Pro.
Actually, not the Pro.
No?
No. And the Pro is one of those options that it looks like it should be that. And it was built to be like a professional.
Although I guess I can see that it has less stars than the Vive itself.
Yeah, it seems to be more designed for like, if let's say if you're going to have a carnival or some kind of event, then you would have the HTC Pro be a part of your event, like going to Walt Disney or something like that, or having some kind of for multiple people and uses. I think that's what it was kind of designed for and how its sensors are for. Okay. The problem I would say with
like the ones who like SeaWorld has a VR roller coaster or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. The problem I would say would be that most people would experience with it is since it's designed for like, it's not designed for just the consumer at home level. So expect comfort to take a hit, and the headset isn't as comfortable as many others. The sensors and stuff like that, it doesn't come with $800 price doesn't come with the hand controllers.
Yikes.
Yeah, or the sensors that you need in order to use it out the box. So they're hoping that you already have bought your sensors. And it is a good idea. You buy the headset, you have like a stock of controllers from your box because you're a company and maybe you stock up. Then just getting the headset by itself makes sense. For a consumer, it just doesn't work out. It is wireless, which is really nice.
Yep.
But at the same time, I would say if you're looking for the best of the best, actually, I'll split it into two categories. Best of the best out the box. You buy it out the box. It's the best of the best. I'm going to give that into the HTC Rift. The Oculus Rift, because outside the box, you get your controllers, you get your headset, of course. You also get 2 sensors. 3 is suggested because, of the controllers. That'll be the best right outside the box. So if you want something easy peasy and good to go.
But you still, outside of that box, you still have to get a computer that works with it.
Yes. I'm hoping that we're dealing with, maybe someone who's already in the gaming field and maybe already has their 1080 Ti. At that point, it's not big of a leap. Or maybe they're in our boat where we need a higher graphics card. And even still, that's not that big of a leap on there. So, but for the best of the best is definitely the HTC Vive, not the Pro, because if you add some peripherals, you can make that one, we'll call it wireless. They have a really nice headset you can add onto it. The 2 sensors it has, you can have 3 or 4 sensors compared to the Oculus Rift, but just the 2 sensors for the HTC, the tracking is so much better, and it's really all you need. You don't lose tracking as much. With the HTC Vive, there's many reports of losing tracking when people are playing video games.
You mean the Oculus Rift?
Oculus Rift, yeah. You lose tracking all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, even our friend who has it, they have that issue all the time, and they have 3 sensors. So
yeah, and for a lot of people that report, just 2 sensors, that's all you need for this. And then if you get the full body, which is it's a ridiculous price at $100 a piece, but we're talking about the best of the best, and they seem to have more access to full body VR games. That would be the HTC Vive, something that the Oculus is totally lacking right now. So the HTC Vive with a full body tracking, you play a video game, you can move your arms, your legs, your hips. So there's like a dancing thing on there. I was trying to think, there was what I was playing VR chat. There's this one like dancing VR or the what's the one? You go into a mall, there's like a bunch of squares, they're all lighting up, and there's like DDR. Yeah. There you go. So they have like little screens with DDR on them, and you can dance in front of the screens and actually kind of play the games. if you have full body motion, which that's pretty cool. Let you kick your legs up and stuff like that. It's a way to get really into the world. So that'll be the best of the best. What I would suggest for other people who are in the budget category, maybe wait a little bit, see what this Quest does. One thing I'd say is the HTC is also coming out soon, or I'm not sure if it's Steam, because there's been some cross communication. I'm not sure if they got the news out. Steam's coming out with some new hand controllers. And I can say the Oculus, best hand controllers in the game. Steam controllers look way better. And that's important too, because how else, if you can't feel like you're in the game using your hands and pointing your fingers, stuff like that, and you just feel like you're just holding a controller, because you had the experience before with some of the games on Oculus, it doesn't really feel like you're getting the full experience at all. You're pulled out of the world.
Yeah.
So first time VR experience. What did you think? Do you remember it?
Oh yeah, we went to that gaming. It was in a mall. It was just like one of those units that you are in the middle of the mall hallway kind of thing. And anyhow, so I had looked it up, found a great Groupon on it, brought my friend, and we went and tried it out. And it was like early morning. They were just opening, the whole mall was like dead, and so anyhow, so yeah, we went in there and, and so we tried them out, and she tried out a couple games, and I pretty much just did they had these horror demo ones that, you didn't have to move around or anything.
I remember the horror thing was like the pull to get you in. That's why you wanted to try the hand things, and we got like little controllers sitting like on somewhere in our
bus. I mean, I love horror stuff, and I hardly ever get to go to the haunted houses and stuff during October, and I mean, I wish I could.
Oh my god, actually, what I could say, like, one thing's like really nice with the VR thing that was a really cool pull is you can go to a haunted house at your house. That's amazing. There was a couple instances where we were just going through like little haunted worlds or whatever. That's cool. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, so I just sat in a chair, and it was showing me in a bed, and and it was like doing all the haunted stuff around me or whatever. But I mean, it was really cool. I had no problems there. I did notice I got a little like warm while doing it. But that was about the only weird thing.
I think that probably comes from just like you're not sitting down like playing a game. You're standing up, moving around. So you just it's your body.
No, I was sitting.
Oh, you was?
Yeah. No, I think it's just that one, I'm a hot body, so I naturally get warm. Okay. But the other thing is when
she gets hot.
Yeah. Well,
get your minds out the gutter, people.
Could be other things too. Yeah. Anyhow, yes. So yeah, no, I naturally am on the warm side always. But the other thing is when I'm like in a situation that maybe I'm not comfortable or something, then I'll have that. And you might think that it's the horror part of it, the scary side of it, that was like making me uncomfortable, but it really wasn't. It was the fact that I couldn't see if there were people watching me, and that freaked me out. I didn't like that. So that was uncomfortable for me.
So you're in, so you put the headset on, you're in what looks like a private place, but you're out in public. Yeah. So at the same time, you're in a public place in a private place.
Yeah. It was, I didn't like the fact that I knew that there could be people in this mall watching me, even though there was like hardly anybody there. I didn't like that aspect of it. So that was my first VR experience.
What was your worst VR experience?
Well, let's see. I think when I was playing Wilson's Heart. No. Actually, there was another one. It wasn't Wilson's Heart was the first one, but okay. I can't remember the name of the game that I was playing. But there was this one game where it was the first time I played a game that used the transportation thing where you press a button and it like jumps you to the next. Oh my God, I about threw up. Like, I was horrible. I was like, nope, I'm done. I can't do it.
Was it Robo Recall?
No, I don't think I ever played that game. No, it was when, okay, so you started off in a plane and it crashed, and then you had to go running around, and it like would jump you around a little bit and stuff like that. And yeah, I know. I don't know. I didn't like it. I got sick after a while. And
actually, when I played those games, I feel like they really need to fix like movement in VR. Is this like the teleporting thing is horrible. I hate it. I think I played it with Robo Recall, and with all the cool things you did in that game, like you had these robots that were running at you and shooting, and you can pick up the bullets and throw it back at them.
I watched you play that one.
Yeah, that was amazing. The part that was it just didn't work is when you had to teleport from one place to another, and just like, okay, I moved and like I gotta look around, where did I go to, and then kind of pick back up and then get back into the action.
See, like it, and I wish it was just about gameplay for me, but no, like, I mean, I'm telling you, by the time that I finally was like, I'm done with this, I took it off. I was sweating and like, I mean, like lightheaded. I had a huge headache, and I was like, oh my God, it was horrible. And I was playing for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and that's the motion side of it for me. That's the equilibrium issue that I don't feel like the VR has really kind of figured out yet. And there are a lot of people who have that like me, maybe not all as bad as me, some is worse or worse than me, but it's a big issue. I mean, until they can figure that out. You know
what? I actually want to throw another suggestion in now that you're mentioning that. Like, let's say, like,
I mean, when I'm sitting down in a game, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's when I stand up and then it moves me around. And it's probably because like I'm not moving around, and instead I'm using a controller to move me around.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, I don't know. Go ahead. What's your suggestion?
Another suggestion I was thinking too is there's a line of like there's a slew of other headsets I just didn't throw out there, and that all comes from one company. That's Microsoft. The one benefit they do have is because they're like the new Quest that's going to come out for Oculus. They don't need sensors. The cameras are on the headset itself, and so far for a lot of people when they report is it does really well with the tracking on the headset. It loses tracking on your hands if it goes behind your back because your cameras can't see you, but on the headset works pretty well. And for most of those, the resolution is higher than the Oculus or the HTC or are about the same.
I mean, I'm not sure if all of it is because of like the resolution. For me, like it's not what I'm seeing that is the problem. It's how I'm moving or not moving, or the like when you like move your character or it moves on itself, and it's just like,
so basically you start it's like the world's just kind of turning around you. You're sitting in one place.
Like if I'm standing there and I move my head to the right, it doesn't move at the same interval as I'm moving. Yeah. So there's like this bit of a little, and that, oh my God, completely throws me off. And that's the hard part. And, and then the transportation is just horrendous. I hate that. Like, I can't play games that have that. And a lot of the good games and a lot of the horror games are movement ones, So it's like the thing that draws me to the VR with the horror side of it, the possibility of going into these haunted houses when, like without having to go spend or go wait until October to do it and stuff like that. And, it's like, I can't do it because it makes me sick.
Well, there's one thing I want.
So why am I going to spend $300-$400+ on
which
something
I hope people
like that?
that get that across, that don't use the teleporting system. It's annoying. But I think that there's another aspect to throw out in here is availability of games.
Yeah.
Now, I think for pretty much you can get
and then like good games. Because I mean, you can have access to Steam, but Steam is great. You can get a lot of awesome games on there, but there are also a lot of not awesome games.
There's a lot of garbage there. There's a lot of garbage in Steam.
And it's hard to know like what to go through and what to try and what not to try. And
well, and Oculus does have its own store and their own unique bubble. I think they're trying to expand on that so they can have their own bubble of games too.
But they still let you have access to Steam.
Yes, they do. They let you have access.
Because I hate like PlayStation. Like one of the downsides for me for the PlayStation VR is that you only have access to the games that they let you have access to, and that's not a lot of games
on their system. So it's not like you can take your headset and like, all right, I want to use this on my computer and plug it into your computer and go. Unless there's some people who know about hacking and doing all that stuff. But still, why would you want to do that if the system's not really built for that? It's a bit problematic. So I think what we may see is with Oculus going to a standalone unit, and their newest headset, which will come out next year, being standalone. What worries me is that now your choice will be on headset. I can say that for now, for me, it seems like the Vive or the Oculus Rift or the ones I can select, because the standalone units can't play the one game I play the most, which is VR chat, because I like talking to people. But I can see that being a deciding factor in the future of, okay, so what games do you play, or what games do you want to play in there, or what experiences are that you want to experience for gaming or non-gaming.
Well, yeah, because there are aspects to the VR that you don't have. I mean, they're not all gaming stuff. I mean, there are other things that you can do with them. You can use you can use it for movies. Yeah. You can use it for workstation kind of thing. So
yeah, you need another monitor. Just drag drop, and there you go, another monitor. Yeah. You need 2 or 3 monitors. I mean, I think the way that aspect is really, really nice, just for a productivity standpoint. It has very good potential just for work. One thing I don't see that I wish people would promote it, maybe from the movie side, is just the theater aspect of it. I played one game, and then there was other people online. I was watching a movie inside the theater, and other people can join me. You can't have that happen nowadays. You're not going to get this 5 people just kind of coming into your house. Hey, let's all watch a movie. That's not what happens in the social world of this now coming up to 2019. That's not a thing. But in a video game, that can be a thing. Hey, I'm watching a movie or something like this. You can have your friends come over, and they can come sit down in a virtual space. And now you're all watching the same thing, having the same experience, and doing something you can't do in a theater, talking. Yeah. And leaving your cell phone on, because everybody's in their own private bubble, can take care of things, go back. If someone wants to, they can pause and come back to a certain part of it, because it's
not affect the other people.
Yeah, they can. Or they can have it to where it affects everybody. So it can be localized or non-localized. Or localized meaning local to your system and only your system, or everybody else can see it.
Interesting.
So I think we covered a good chunk of the VR stuff. Yeah. Anything else we want to kind of add into this whole thing?
No, I mean, I think we did good there. We talked about the kids and the budget friendly and the full on tech stuff. And so I think we're good.
Yeah. I mean, if you have any other questions on it, or if you just want to go and say, hey, maybe you missed out on this. Maybe we should look into this. Maybe there's other things in there that we don't know about. I know there's
so much info out there about the VR and, that's very possible we missed out on stuff.
What I find interesting about the VR, except for looking at a game or anything else, this adds another dimension to kind of play in that I don't think that hopefully works out very well, and we can actually see just happening in the future a lot more often. But just from, let's say, experiencing music or adding dance or actually adding a more social event. Even look at the changes with just having Pokemon Go, with people now walking around. Gaming and gamers are changing from their days back in 1995 when they're all, known as couch potatoes playing.
Well, one of the things that I think could be a cool aspect with the VR is, okay, so right now, we have an issue where if you're playing on your phone and walking around with Pokemon Go, there was numerous issues about, people walking out into crosswalks and getting hit by cars, people driving cars and hitting people or whatever because they're playing they're
filming themselves on YouTube while playing the game.
Well, you see videos constantly where people are just walking and looking at their phone, and then they run into something, pole or another person or whatever. So So I think like with the VR part of it, you know, it'd be really cool if we could do those kind of things, but it also shows the world around you. So like, hey, there's a light pole here, and all of a sudden there's a tree in your VR world, and you know, oh, I can't go through that tree, you know. So
or since it's VR, the car just literally hits you. You just run into the tree. It's VR. You're in the safe space of where you can have these, you know, have those events happen. Whereas in the real world, you walk out in the middle of the road.
I mean, actually, like, you know, taking the concept of that and including it with the real world. You know, I mean, like, okay,
I see.
Like kind of when we were watching, Ready Player One, you know, they had stuff like that where like you're watching these people who are just kind of, they have their VR headsets on, but they're walking around in the everyday world, but it's showing up, you know, in their VR, the people that are actually out in the real world too.
Oh yes. When Microsoft started, they had the AR, or I cannot think of the name of it, but basically it was like a glass shield, and it works similar to Google Glass, just expand upon. So you can actually get like, you know, a readout or something like that. So you're not having to look at your screen; it is right there in your face. I mean, totally agree. Yeah, that's something we totally need.
I feel like, you know, okay, so obviously we tell people put their phones down, but they're not putting their phones down. It's kind of like the same concept of don't drink and drive, but they still do that. You know, it's like I don't want to just rely on telling people not to do something because it's not working.
It should be integrated to being social.
So if we find another way for them to do the things that they want to do on their phone, but also make it safe for everybody else around so that they see what else is going on around them, then I feel like that is a really cool tool that the VR could potentially, you know, help out with.
Yeah.
Or that aspect of it. If we can figure out how to use those sensors to then like see what's around us.
Well, I think that we can definitely, we already have the capability of doing that. We just need to tell the market we want it. Just release it. Just put it out there. People will buy it. It's
kind of like self-driving cars, right?
I know. Actually, that's one thing I would like to see the standalone unit start doing that. I mean, if you're going to be a standalone unit, you don't need the computer with you. Well, you know, go all out. Give us the power just to put the cameras on the outside, and you may look like a goof on the outside, but add to it. You're already goofy looking. Just do it.
Well, why can't they do things like that with your phone, where your phone camera can like kind of sense what's going on around you? So while you're on your phone and you're walking or whatever.
Well, I've seen apps like Glass, whatever, but
doesn't quite work.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work. Anywho,
someday our technology will get to the place where we can all be safe.
Oh boy. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I want to also,
and for following us. I mean, we're almost at 600 followers now. It's pretty crazy.
This has been a very crazy like 2 weeks, which is amazing. I am humbled and surprised and impressed and more positive other words that I cannot think of. I'm glad you guys listen to us.
And, you know, and I mean, we would love to hear from you in any way. I mean, you can go to our website and send us an email, or, you know, send us an email to admin@itcouplepodcast.com. We would love to hear from you, you know, suggestions. Hey, why don't you cover this topic? Anything. I mean, this is a huge part of why we're doing what we are doing, because we want to grow, and we're constantly growing. I mean, we're still very new, you know, so this is probably still very rough, and maybe at some point years in the future we'll look back and go like listen to it and go, oh my god, that was so cringy.
Yeah, well, we'll have a react moment to our own podcast, like, oh my goodness. I would like to put like a bloopers section eventually. I'm not sure if
we did do one before, and it was actually very popular when we put it out.
Yeah, it was all me just messing up.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad. But I mess up too.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll scrub through everything.
Hunt for them a little bit more.
No, I don't think they're hunting that hard.
Be nice.
Okay, but you know what? I can say plans for the future. We already got the new logo up. Let us know. I got some positivity from it. People do kind of like it.
Well, I think I certainly think it represents us better than the
American flag hat. Yes, that
Uncle Sam's
happened incidentally. So yeah, I'm gonna like that. I can say maybe we'll. I have some ideas later on. We'll talk about it. something to help us with the YouTube crowd. Because our YouTube game is so weak, but it's weak for a reason.
Because we haven't done anything with it.
Yes.
We just let Podbean automatically upload it into there, and that's about all we do.
Actually, if you're on Podbean too, a very easy way to reach out to us was when you click on there. I think there's like a way you can message us. Very quick and simple.
Yep.
But yeah, you can always reach us out there. Spotify users, a lot of the other guys out there, our website, best bet, reaching out to us. We definitely get everything. Okay, so let me go in and wrap this up. This is a very long wrap up. My bad.
Yeah, you're very, never mind. I'll leave it there.
She's going to say it after I close. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, take it easy.
See ya.